Assalamu alaikum. Today we're going to look at, inshallah, how rabbinic literature sexualizes the Torah. And this is based on chapter 6 of Jeffrey L. Rubinstein's The Culture of the Babylonian Talmud. He has a section on it. Of course, this is very inappropriate, these sort of sexual understandings of the Torah. So we'll actually begin with this text. It says in the Babylonian Talmud, whoever dreams of a goose may hope for wisdom. As it is stated, wisdom crieth aloud in the street, and he who dreams of having intercourse with it will become the principal of a seminary. Rabbi Ashe said, I dreamt of seeing one and having intercourse with it, and I ascended to greatness. Okay, so again, it's clear. This is another translation that is saying that if you dream of having sex with a goose, then that means you're going to become the head of the yeshiva, the academy, which is very strange. Now, on page 119 of the work by Rubinstein here, Culture of the Babylonian Talmud, he mentions a text in the Talmud, Erevin 54b, which says, Rab Shmuel ber Nachmani said, what is written? A loving doe, a graceful mountain goat, let her breasts satisfy you at all times. Be infatuated with her love always. Be infatuated with her love always. Why are the words of Torah compared to a doe? Just as a doe has a tight vagina and is beloved to her mate each time, just like the first time, so the words of Torah are beloved to those who study them each time, just like the first time. A graceful goat, it bestows grace on those who study it. Let her breasts satisfy you at all times. Why are the words of Torah compared to a breast? Just as a child finds milk in a breast whenever he fondles it, so a man finds meaning whenever he meditates on the words of Torah. Again, all this is a quote from Erevin 54b from the Babylonian Talmud. This is all a quote. And Daniel Boyarin, in his article, Why is Rabbi Yohanan a Woman or a Queer Marriage Gone Bad? He mentions the same thing. He cites the same passage, Erevin 54b, and he cites it as, why have the words of Torah compared here to a hind to teach you, just as the hind has a narrow vagina and is beloved by her lover, so the words of Torah are beloved by their learners. Why I've quoted these two is because they're giving the actual correct, proper translation without worrying about censorship, whereas the version on Sepharia has censored it a little bit by changing vagina to womb, which contextually the vagina translation is obviously what's meant, because it's talking about the mate always coming back and always finding the woman desirable. And the idea is that, there's this common idea that a vagina is tightest at the beginning. And so that's the idea. Anyway, it's very strange, inappropriate stuff, but that's why I've quoted Rubinstein and Boyarin here instead of Sepharia. Here's another text from the Talmud. Rav Ahia taught, anyone who studies Torah in the presence of an Am Haaretz, meaning a layman Jew basically, it is as if he has intercourse with his betrothed in his presence, as Moses said. Moses commanded us the Torah, the inheritance. Do not read inheritance, but read betrothed. Okay, so Deuteronomy 33:4 says the Torah is Israel's inheritance. And what he's saying is, instead of reading it as inheritance, read it as betrothed, meaning like it's Israel's wife. Okay, so you can see the association of Torah with sex and with a wife, right? Because studying Torah in the presence of a layman Jew basically is like having sex with your wife in his presence. There's another text in the Talmud. One who sees that he has had sex with his mother in a dream, he should anticipate attaining understanding, as it is stated, ye, if you call for understanding. So, of course, this is a midrashic interpretation. One who sees that he had sex with a betrothed young woman in a dream, he should anticipate Torah, as it is stated, Moses commanded us Torah, an inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. Do not read it as inheritance, read it as betrothed. One who sees that he has had sex with his sister in a dream should anticipate wisdom, as it's stated, say unto wisdom, you are my sister. One who sees that he has had sex with a married woman in a dream is assured that he has a place in the world to come. with a married woman here, meaning he's having sex with a woman who is married to someone else. So adultery. Right? Now, in Song of Solomon, chapter 7, the man is describing the woman, his beloved. He says, "Your curving thighs like jewels, the products of skilled hands." And so the Babylonian Talmud, Rav Anan, the school of Rav Anan taught, what is the meaning of the verse in Song of Solomon? The hidden of your thighs. Why are matters of Torah likened to a thigh? It is to tell you that just as the thigh is always concealed, covered by clothes, so too matters of Torah are optimal when recited in private and not in public. So again, you can see the association of sex and sexuality and eroticism with the Torah, comparing its words to a thigh, a hidden thigh of a woman. This is again the Talmud. He who commits adultery with a woman lacks understanding. Reish Lakish says, this is a reference to one who studies Torah intermittently, who is like an adulterer who sins with the other women intermittently, as it is stated about the words of Torah. For it is a pleasant thing if you keep them within your belly, let them be established on your lips, and keep the Torah always available. So, of course, none of these biblical verses are talking about the Torah and anything like that. They're just taking them out of context and midrashically interpreting them and this and that. The point is, he's saying that someone who doesn't consistently study the Torah, but intermittently here and there studies the Torah, is like someone who has who commits adultery. Right? He commits adultery. He has sex outside of marriage. He cheats on his wife. Here I have quoted from page 155 and 156 of Jeffrey L. Rubinstein's Culture of the Babylonian Talmud, same book, because here he starts to talk about the Kabbalah. So he mentions that erotic representations of Torah study, also discussed in chapter 6, become an explicit and important dimension of Kabbalistic mysticism, as has been described in detail by Elliot Wolfson. The Zohar presents Torah as a means of uniting with the feminine elements of God. So I'll just zoom in here. So this is what the Zohar says. Similarly, when scholars are separated from their wives on weekdays in order to study Torah, celestial intercourse is granted them and does not desert them, so that male and female may exist together. Similarly, when a man's wife has her menstrual period and he has proper respect for her, celestial intercourse is granted him during those days, so that male and female may exist together. When his wife has become purified, he must give his wife the joy of the commandment, exalted joy. So, okay. His comments here. According to Talmudic tradition, the conjugal duty of sages is once a week, so they have to have sex once a week with their wives. The Zohar, which again is a much later work, but Jews think it's authoritative, and they think it's earlier. The Zohar claims that although a sage abstains from physical intercourse during the week, he engages in celestial intercourse with the Shekhinah, namely the mystical experience of cleavage to or uniting with God. Likewise, when he refrains from sex with his wife due to her ritual impurity, he is compensated by celestial intercourse achieved through passionate Torah study. Torah study and marital sex are presented as complementary and even interdependent activities. And okay, blah, 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 blah. Then he mentions another passage from the Zohar. The comrades who are engaged in the study of Torah join the community of Israel in praising the Holy King as they are occupied with the Torah. For the rest of the Jewish people, or for the rest of the Jewish males, this is the acceptable time to be sanctified in the sanctity of the Holy One, blessed be He, and to direct their intentions to be conjoined to him. With respect to the comrades who are engaged in study of Torah, the time for their sexual intercourse is the time that another intercourse takes place, and this is on the eve of the Sabbath. And then he quotes Wolfson's analysis. The mystics rise at midnight to study Torah at precisely the time that other Jewish males should ideally engage in sexual intercourse. The hermeneutical activity of the Kabbalist is viewed as distinct from yet isomorphic, yet isomorphic to the conjugal sex of the layman, just as the latter is conjoined to God through the proper intention in sexual intercourse. To the former attains the state of conjunction by means of textual exegesis. The phenomenal structure of the two experiences is identical. By uniting with a female, in the case of the ordinary male, his wife, and in the case of the mystic, the Shekhinah, the male gains access to the masculine potency of the divine. All right, now question here: where is he quoting from the Zohar? So these are the footnotes. So the first passage is 51, and the second passage is 54. Footnote 51 is Zohar 149b to 50a, cited from Isaiah Tishby, The Wisdom of the Zohar, translated by Goldstein. And then 54, the second passage was Zohar 349b, cited by Wolfson in Eunuchs Who Keep the Sabbath. It's also worth looking at citation or footnote 53, which is a quotation of Zohar 336a, or he says, see, for example, Zohar 336a. All those engaged in the study of Torah cleave to the Holy One, blessed be He, and are crowned in the crowns of Torah. How much the more so those who are engaged in the study of Torah also during the night, for they are joined to the Shekhinah, and they are united as one. Translated from Wilson, Female Imaging of the Torah. So what's the point of this whole video? It's very inappropriate to deal with the Book of God in this way, sexualize it, eroticize it. And of course, that's what these Jewish sources, authoritative Jewish sources, do with the Torah.